Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a happy Monday and a great start to 2022. Today, we're going to be diving into Cardano, and we're going to be giving an outlook for this year. There are some amazing things on the horizon for Cardano. We are moving into the Basho era, which sees the issue of scalability, which is one of the three main components of what makes a blockchain good, what makes it usable, etc., get tackled. And we're going to see this get tackled with the likes of Hydra, Mithril, Mamba. We're also going to see side chains from DC Sparks and other such development companies start to operate EVM compatibility, so that people will be able to write Solidity and apply it to, or write code in Solidity and be able to apply it to the Cardano blockchain. We also know that we've got the beautiful DeFi or DApp ecosystem blossoming, and this is really going to drive the utilization of ADA as an underlying token. So we're going to talk about all this. We're also going to talk about the market conditions, because what Cardano does certainly has, or Bitcoin certainly has, a say in that, and it still is that tide that rises and sinks all ships. So we're going to be giving a bit of an outlook. We covered this in the prior video to this one. It came out about an hour and a half earlier. We're going to be giving an outlook on Bitcoin and the market as a whole, because we're in uncharted waters right now, ladies and gentlemen. We were expecting 2021 to end in a similar fashion to 2017, or prior to that, 2013. And now that hasn't been the case. So where does this leave us? We're in this kind of no man's land, if you will, just waiting to see how the future unfolds. Now, nobody is more bullish than me on crypto. I think blockchain technology is going to play a role in everybody's life in a similar way to how the internet does. And prior to that, the PC revolution, how that, people have smartphones, that is a PC essentially, that is connected to the internet. I think blockchain is an extra layer on top of that, and that is going to see huge adoption. In terms of adoption, the real value proposition is that we are very early within that. And you guys can, do that test for yourself. Ask the people around you if they've even heard of cryptocurrencies, if they know how to, there's a huge learning curve that has to come for this adoption to take place. And we're still very early within that. And it's what channels like this one are here to do, help people get educated and point them in the right direction. So we're going to be getting into what the outlook for this year is. Now, given the fact that this hasn't taken shape, the reason this hasn't potentially taken shape is because the market is more mature. We're now a or certainly Bitcoin was a $1 trillion asset class, or asset. Now, prior to certainly the end of this year, Bitcoin has really moved, and this 4-year cycle theory is really a thing due to the halvings that take place every 4 years. This gives a fundamental reason, i.e. the supply gets cut in half, for the price to adjust in the way that it does, and for these kind of 4-year cycles to take place. Because once that halving takes place, you can see these are the green lines, there is a price adjustment, and this is really due to the fact that miners become less profitable and the price needs to adjust accordingly. It's basic supply and demand. If you look at these bar patterns, these are the previous cycles. One thing you'll notice is not only do they all get longer, but they all get they all diminish in terms of returns, in terms of ROI. And you can see that Bitcoin is potentially following this lengthening cycle theory, which is a very popular theory. It's been popularized by a lot of YouTubers, such as Benjamin Cohen and a number of other people who've been talking about it for not just recently, for a long period of time. I happen to think that we were going to end in a 2017 fashion. That hasn't happened. So where does that leave us? Well, fundamentally, Cardano is in a very strong position. However, it is still very much tethered to Bitcoin. And my expectation for Bitcoin is that it continues to go up, but it's going to be a somewhat potentially volatile year. So it's a year to approach with caution. So why would I have a schematic like this laid down for ADA? And by the way, when I mean caution, I mean it's going to be a year of potentially quite a lot of volatility to go along with the uncertainty. Retail is still in fear at the moment due to all this sort of everything that we've just previously spoken about. And ultimately, I think that potentially Bitcoin, I think what took place over here is very applicable to what's taking place here. And you could see a little bit more downside before we kind of see that continuation to the upside. And ultimately, I think Bitcoin's only going one way now. I think we're going to see more of an adoption kind of curve take place for Bitcoin, which is going to see it continue in an upwards direction on a macro timescale. But on the short term, there's going to be volatility attached with that. So providing that Bitcoin does okay, it doesn't need to do brilliantly, Cardano essentially could be set off to do amazingly. It's going to be an epic year. So we spoke about a few of the kind of protocol level upgrades, or this is certainly a layer 2 Hydra, Mithril Mamba, and we've got side chains running. We've got the DApp ecosystem. We're going to see upgrades of the Plutus, the PAB. So these are just some of the fundamental reasons why I think Cardano is going to do very well. And like I say, with the right environment for Bitcoin and the market as a whole, if Bitcoin sees a little bounce here, you could see Cardano perform in a very, very pleasing fashion. You could essentially see it embark, and this is something we had drawn a while ago, and it's actually started to embark on the fifth wave already. You could see something like this take place, which could be very, very healthy for ADA. These fundamental reasons, and people still don't grasp this concept, are going to have huge pressure on Cardano getting bought up, whether that be to interact with the DEX, whether that be to farming liquidity, whether that be to buy NFTs or CNFTs, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of fundamental reasons why the buy pressure for Cardano is going to really accelerate. This will bring the spotlight on it. We looked at things like Google Trends and so on yesterday. So the outlook that we kind of have for ADA, providing there's a number of conditions that have to take place. If Bitcoin, for example, I'm not suggesting it's going to do this, one second, did something like that, what do you think happens to the price of Cardano? It theoretically will go with it. Now, it might show strength against it, given the fundamental reasons, but ultimately, it's not going to perform in the kind of spectacular manner that I think it will, providing that Bitcoin holds up and holds steady. We'll get into a number of indicators. I think this is the kind of blueprint that you have for ADA. And what we'll do is we'll quickly draw the Elliott wave theory on that we've got in place. We've gone over this 1,000,001 times. Originally, we had our Elliott wave theory like this, ladies and gents, and we thought this would be a fifth wave, and this was the end of your fourth wave. Well, in actual fact, and you're allowed to change your opinions. People that don't change their opinions as investors, when new information comes to light, are not going to do very well in terms of making money. We think this is, now your kind of fifth wave, and you are, in my opinion, going to see it's a matter. $5 Cardano price, $10 Cardano price is a matter of time, in my opinion. This is a project that I've done extensive research in, and the more I learn about Cardano, the more I learn about the strategies that they've kind of implemented, the more bullish I get. This is a crypto that's going to do very, very well. It's one of those stocks out of the dot-com boom that is here to stay. And in actual fact, many of those stocks are some of the biggest companies that we have in the kind of markets, the stock market, or some of the biggest companies that we have in the world, I should say. So I think this is what you're looking at. These are very, very applicable. And typically, if you look at when you actually start on your next wave, it's often met. So you bottom out, you come up, and then you retrace a lot of that move before you get that continuation. This is how markets move. Can you see? Here's a better example. You bottom out, you come up, you retrace, but you don't put in a lower low. Now, that's a really important thing to remember. Cardano, since March 2020, has just gone on to put higher highs and higher lows in. So that is still a macro bullish trend. That's a macro continuation. That is a trending, a bullish trending, an upward trending market, not a downward trending market. And we're still yet today. And if we flip it very, very quickly, we spoke about this on a number of occasions, you actually have some bullish divergence taking place there. You've got a lower low. You've got the RSI coming down, but the price is continuing to go up. So the RSI typically is at, or certainly traditionally in the stock market, it's been used to tell whether something is oversold or overbought. We're on this kind of level here beautifully. This could be fundamentally, technically, there are reasons to support this, why this could be the fifth wave that we're about to embark on. And you can see, it's very, very applicable. So we're super, super excited. There are conditions to this, like Bitcoin behaving. I do think Bitcoin will behave, and ultimately we think this is, you're going to do something similar to what you did over here. And this ultimately is going to set you up for continuation. Now, it does look like a falling wedge. Falling wedges don't always have to break to the downside. They can break to the upside. And in fact, if they do break to the upside, similarly to what this one did, they usually do it in quite a spectacular fashion. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that people are overlooking. I understand, and certainly from a retail point of view, people lose interest massively when the price goes down. And it's actually when the price goes down that you should be the most interested. It's when we have these kind of choppy markets that you shouldn't be trading. You certainly shouldn't be trading. If anything, you should be DCAing, dollar cost averaging, and you should be researching, and you should be learning in a technology, in my opinion, that's going to change the world. And this is really, moving into the Basho era. Hydra, for example, could see potentially over 1 million TPS at a start. It will actually go and scale higher than that, but that is just unfathomable. There's no blockchain out there at the moment that can currently do that or deal with that, or certainly, that has the credentials that Cardano has on top of the high TPS. This is a blockchain that's going to do very, very well, ladies and gentlemen. It's a matter of when, not if. It's a matter of time, in my opinion. So that was just really a brief overview. Fundamentally, there are so many reasons why Cardano is going to do well. Ultimately, we're still tethered to the market, so it's something to bear in mind and pay attention to. But providing that Bitcoin does okay, you could see Cardano absolutely fly. And we have been anticipating this explosion for Cardano based on the DApp ecosystem. It's taken a lot longer than most people have expected. Welcome to crypto, guys. That's just how it is, unfortunately. These things take a lot of time. I remember a while ago, I think it was Vitalik that said ETH2 is essentially like trying to change a plane engine whilst in flight. These things aren't easy to do. There's a lot on the line if they go wrong. So of course they're going to take their time with them, and that's what we kind of want. But it is coming. We are on the horizon of it. We've got Sunday Swap launching any day now. And then we've got, things like Cardano that are going to closely follow, Liquid Labs and so on and so forth. So we're very, very excited for what the future holds. And we'll see, we'll be right here on the channel going through the motions with you. But this is a schematic that I think stands a good chance of playing out, a potential roadmap, if you will, that sees some pretty awesome continuation for ADA. And of course, that will create a lot of happy hodlers. And if indeed we do see this, your fifth wave is typically in between your 1 and your 2 waves. So just very quickly, if we take the percentage of this wave, 750 or 740%, sorry, and we take it for potentially if this is indeed the bottom, and there are a number of indicators to suggest it might be, and go up 750% or 740%, sorry. You can see that takes us to around about $9. I think we potentially could be on our way there, ladies and gentlemen. But there's a lot that, it's all condition based. The past 2 years have shown us that there's a lot of uncertainty in markets at the moment. Now, our cryptocurrency daily updates are well worth a watch because we cover the realms of everything external to the crypto space and how they affect our markets. Like we cover the fact that Jerome is talking about upping interest rates, what the outcome of this may or may not be. This is all stuff as investors you need to get your head around. You are in a more difficult market than what has previously gone before us, where you could just buy and it will go up. Now, you can just buy and over time it will go up, but you need to be more of an active investor than you previously have been, because we're further along in the kind of growth cycle for Bitcoin, but still very early. We're further along to the point where not anybody can just chuck money in 100x. You have to do your due diligence to get those kind of rewards. And we are coming up after this video with a moon bag Monday, I think we're going to call it, and where we're going to pick maybe 5 altcoins to start out with, throw a grand into each of them, and see how they progress over the year, having done our due diligence on each one of them. So that's really all I have for you. Just a brief outlook. Fundamental. That's what you want to be thinking. Fundamentals win in the long term. Usage and adoption wins in the long term. Many boom and busts have shown us that, and crypto is no different. But a very exciting future, ladies and gentlemen. Hang in there. HODL is the main message. Remember, we do have the All-in Crypto Stake Pool. For those of you that want to stake, feel free. It's a great way to support the channel. And we do absolutely appreciate it. And we are doing our best to make sure we maintain and mint blocks continuously. When Sunday Swap ends on the ISPO, I think we'll be well over 1.2, 1.3 million ADA back in the pool. It's just that many people have gone elsewhere to get rewards for Sunday Swap and so on. So that's really all I have for you. Enjoy your Monday, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents.